So Fujifilm recently announced the launch of the Instax Wide EVO, and I have thoughts. If you're into hybrid cameras that's part digital and part instant magic, this one might catch your eye. But the real question is, who's this camera actually for? I've got a list, and if you want to skip ahead, go to the timestamp on the screen. Now, before we dive in, let's talk a little more about what the Wide EVO camera is. Like I mentioned before, the Wide EVO is a hybrid camera system. The digital part is the actual camera. It's what you use to take your photo. When you take a photo, your camera uses a digital sensor. You can see your photo on the camera's back LCD screen. The instant part is the ability to print the photo right after you take it. Instax already has one EVO camera. It's the Mini EVO. Now, like the name implies, it uses a mini film format. The EVO line of cameras have a plethora of features, and if you want to learn more about some of the features for the Wide EVO, check out one of my videos where I break down my thoughts on Adorama's review of the camera. Alright, let's shift gears. So you've been hearing the hype about the camera, but you're still not sure if the camera's right for you. I'll be honest, I don't know if this video will answer that question for you, but if it doesn't, I hope it at least points you in the right direction to getting you that answer. I think this camera is for the non-purist instant photographer. Now, like I've said several times, this is a hybrid camera, not straight analog like the other Instax wide format cameras. For some in the instant photography community, this is almost blasphemous. You go to a YouTube video or a Reddit post about this camera, and you'll probably find a comment about how this isn't a real instant camera and it takes away from the magic of instant photography. On the one hand, I can kind of understand those comments. There is something, I think, special about taking a photo and not being sure what exactly you've captured until your photo develops. However, I think hybrid cameras have a place in the instant photography world as well. So yes, the images produced don't look quite like your average analog instant photo, but I think there's still something magical about being able to instantly print your photo. So many people have only digital images and never print any of them out. Those photos seem to live and die on a person's phone or Facebook profile. This camera is just another way to get your photos out of the digital world and into the real one. I think this camera is for people looking for a compact version of a wide format camera. As much as I love the wide format film, the cameras are usually massive. For some people like myself, that can be a hindrance to me shooting wide format more often. The Wide EVO is said to be about 5.47 inches by 4.92 inches by 2.47 inches. Compare that to an Instax Y400, which measures about 6.38 inches by 3.86 inches by 4.84 inches. Y400 is almost an inch longer and an inch deeper. While I don't yet have a Wide EVO, they haven't been released to the general public yet, I do have an Instax Wide printer. So the printer measures about 5.47 inches by 5.02 inches by 1.33 inches. So if we're going to compare this Wide EVO here to the Wide 400, size-wise, you can see this is a little smaller, but really it's the depth that will have the biggest difference. On the Wide EVO, there will be more protrusion on the front just because of the lens, but it's still, if it's even roughly even a little protrusion here, it will still be less bulky than the 400. So that's why I think if you're looking for a compact wide camera, the Wide EVO may be the choice for you. If you're one of the people that likes the wide format but don't want to carry around a hefty wide analog camera, then this may be the camera for you. This camera seems like one I can throw in my bag or my purse or pack away in my carry-on without taking up a lot of space. Also, if you like remaining low-key while you're out and shooting, pulling out a wide 400 or even a wide 300 can draw a lot of attention, or at least that's how I feel. I think with the Wide EVO's lower profile, you will draw less attention to yourself, or again, it might at least feel that way. I know it may seem a little counterintuitive to say that the Wide EVO, which runs you about $350, will save you money compared to a wide 400, which is about $150, but let me explain. Instant film isn't necessarily cheap. Instax is definitely cheaper than Polaroid, but it can still be expensive and it definitely adds up if you like to shoot a lot of instant photography. A double pack or 20 sheets of white border wide film will run you about $20 on Amazon and like $24 out in town. Like I said, not crazy expensive, but if you're used to shooting digital, aka for free, you might be surprised at how much you can spend. Enter the Wide EVO and the ability to only print the photos you want. Just because you take a photo, it doesn't mean you have to print it. You can decide which images you want to print and when you want to print them. This allows you to save money on film because you're not always having to go through packs and packs of film. Along the lines of not having to print every image immediately, I think the wide EVO might be a good fit for those who want to travel and take wide format photos, but don't want to have to carry around a lot of stuff. Like I mentioned previously, this camera is more compact than the standard analog wide format camera. Add on the fact that you don't have to print every image, this camera might just be what you need for traveling. You can still take your photos and not have to bring a million packs of film with you while you're out and about. If you're flying, you also don't have to worry about having to check a bunch of film. And what I mean by check is having it hand checked by the TSA at the airport. You also don't have to worry about ruining your film if it can't get hand checked for whatever reason. Luckily, Instax is pretty resilient to x-rays, but I wouldn't want to risk it, especially if you brought a lot of film with you. One of the fun things about shooting with an EVO camera is that you have the option to add some different lens and film effects to your photos. With the new wide EVO, you can now also add some new film styles. A camera like this gives you a chance at some easy creativity, especially compared to an analog instant camera. Now, there are going to be some people that say, but you can do creative stuff with the analog instant camera, or oh, that's just being lazy. So to the first group, you're absolutely right. You can definitely get creative with analog instant photography. The second group, let's talk about it. So what if it's lazy? Everything doesn't have to be work. If you're doing photography because you want to have fun, or even if you're doing it for work, everything doesn't have to be super hard. I hate the idea that people shouldn't enjoy having creative instant photos because they didn't work hard for it. Like, yes, there's a time and place for hard work, but sometimes you just want to grab your camera, go out, and take some creative shots, and I think the wide EVO may be a great choice for that. Along the lines of creativity, if you're just wanting more control over your photos, the wide EVO might be for you. A lot of more simple analog instant cameras have little to no additional control options. You can't turn the flash on or off, you can't adjust exposure, things like that. With the wide EVO, you have more of that functionality. So for instance, with the wide 400, the only thing you can really do is set a timer. You can't turn the flash on and off, there's no exposure compensation. With a camera like the wide 300, you do have a bit more control, but you don't have as much control as the wide EVO. Now I know there are going to be some people who are like, well, why don't I just get an Instax wide printer since the images with the wide EVO are so digital and the printer is cheaper? And honestly, that isn't a bad idea. If you care more about printing photos and you don't necessarily care how they're captured or you don't care to ever really print them instantly, then wide printer may be a better fit. Or if you don't mind having two devices, one to capture the photos and one to print, then the printer may be the way to go. Yes, I know that most of us always have our phones anyway, but it's still an extra step, albeit an easy step, to connect your camera to the printer and then print. With the wide EVO, you can just take your photo and print it. No additional steps needed. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on who the Instax Wide EVO might be for. Is this camera for everyone? Absolutely not. Is there a market for it? I think so. As long as you know what you're getting and you're okay with that, I think this camera can be a great addition or start to your instant camera collection. But let me know what y'all think. Is this the type of camera that interests you? Are you thinking about getting it, or do you just prefer straight analog instant cameras? Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you want more photography content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to receive notifications when I post new videos. I try to upload at least one video a week. Stay tuned for more fun photography content, and if there are any topics you want to see, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep practicing, keep having fun, and I'll see you in the next video.